Hi Nathan, this is a video for you on just basic operations of the WM NANO from Ishida. I'll just go through a couple of the quick components for you as an overall familiarization. First we have the controller. This is the Uni 7 controller with the removable printer cassette. Okay. When you hit the feed button after you've loaded labels, you should be able to feed out a label, and if your feeder's working properly, you should just be able to see the leading edge of the next label just briefly in the printer. That way you know your printer's set up properly, and when you hit feed you should just get one label. In addition to that, underneath the controller you have the film roll. This one right now is set for, I believe, 350 film or 400, and in the film cabinet you have two black lines that you can see. There's one black line, number 1, and number 2 black line. Depending on the length of film you're rolling, the edge of the film should correspond to the line. So if you see, this film is actually set to number 2. If you wanted to move this over a little bit, if you're using a larger film, you would set the leading edge to line number 1. Once you've aligned your film, you're just using the little black wheel, lock wheel, to tighten the film so that the roller still rolls against the side of the core. You don't want it too tight, but you just don't want that film coming over anymore. Okay? So that aligns your film. Once your film's aligned, you have the film door. You open up the film door, and loading film is as easy as just following the 4-step instructions. 1, 2, 3, 4. But the way I like to do the film here is, I'll just show you a quick little tip. It's going to be a little tricky because I got 2 hands here and one's holding the camera, but you're going to make sure that the edges of the film when they're going into the machine are nice and straight down on the left side and nice and straight down on the right side. And what I use is actually, I use a key. So once I've got my film in and it's nice and straight on either side, you're just basically lifting up the arm here, and I'll do it a little better for you. Just give me a second. Okay, so once you've got the film in, you can simply just use a key. Okay, and I just score the bottom of the film, and then you can remove this little excess piece of film here. Okay, once you've removed the excess piece of film, you're just going to close the film cabinet door, and you're going to hit the film feed button right here. Okay, when you hit that feed film button, if it's a problem, it's going to let you know. And maybe you just didn't have enough film there, so we'll just try to feed it again. Sometimes feeding the film can be a little finicky, so you might need to just get some practice on the film here. Let's see if I can set this up in a way that you can see what I'm doing here. So, the film feeding, you just want to bring that film down nice and even on both sides. Close the film arm. Cut the excess with a key. Close your door and hit your film feeding. If you do it correctly, it'll say film removal is completed, and you'll have a little piece of film in here that you're just going to need to remove. And once you're done, just feed a piece of film, and that film will come right across and should be nice and even from the left side to the right side. Once you feed film, you can know your clamps are working well if you go to mode, you enter your password, 495344 PLU, and then you go down to adjust, and you go all the way down to unit test. Now in unit test, you can go to all clamps, and if you feed a piece of film, which I will do, I'll feed a piece of film first. Just feed film. Okay, and then you go to mode. Do your password of 495344 PLU. Go to adjust. Go all the way down to unit test. Initiate all clamps, and you can test every mechanics in the machine. So at all clamps, you hit execute. And what that does is the clamps in the back here, you got your left clamp, center clamp, right clamp rear, and you have the same over here in the front. Left, right, center clamp, and right clamp. Now that you've initiated those clamps, to see if your clamps are working well, you should be able to put your hand on this film and push it all the way down to the top of the elevator mushroom tops. Okay, and that film is actually holding in there really well. So you know your clamps are holding that film really good. After you've tested that and confirmed your clamps are working well, you can just hit the clamp button again and execute to release the film, and then you can just grab this piece of film out of there. So you've done a quick test to know that your clamps are working well and the film's feeding and clamps are clamping. You can go ahead and back out of here now and go to the little smiley face to go back to operation, and you can just feed another piece of film. You know it's working well, that film will come across, and you're good to go. So, in a nutshell, that's basic operation. At this point, you would then grab a tray. You can just find a tray here for you. You're just going to grab a tray. Excuse me. And you're just going to put on a little something on that tray. We'll use a roll of tape today. And this tray here is a tray 34. So let's see, we'll call up a PLU. One PLU. The tray file for this is a tray number 12 that's selected. So let's see what tray number 12 is. Tray number 12 is a 2S yellow. We want it to be a 38, so we're going to change it to a 38. Tray number 7, and hopefully those dimensions are good, and we'll try this and see how it's wrapping. So you're just going to put your tray on there, nice and centered towards the back. As soon as the weight's stable, the elevator should lift, should feed a piece of film. And at this point, if you put another tray on it, will lift the elevator, but if there's no extra tray, you just hit the PLU button. It's going to lift your tray. Bring out your wrap, and your label will come out. You can stick that on there. Okay, and you should have a nice wrap. You have your thermal sealing bar here, and you'll need to turn that on. So if you go into your mode and back to operation, you should be having a button on the front here called heater adjust. Heater adjust. If you press that, power should be on, and power should be on, and you can adjust your temperature. Never play around with film temperature here. That can cause a lot of problems, so you don't want to touch that. Okay? Once you've turned your power rollers on, your sealing should heat up and should give you a nice seal on the bottom of your tray. Okay? This is a basic operation. Of course, you've got your e-stop here. If any problems arise, you just hit that and everything will stop. You've got your side door here, and you've got two sensors. These are your film over sensors, left one and right one. And if film comes too far over, these will trigger and you'll get a film over sensor. And from time to time, you need to go in here with a piece of tweezers and remove some of the film that will build up behind these belts and on these rollers. As well, sometimes on this side, the film feeding door, you may just need to take a look at the rollers and remove some of the excess film pieces. You got your power on the side, you got your power on the side. You do a software shutdown first, and then you do your hardware shutdown. Hope that helps, Nathan. Thanks again for choosing Interway and the Ishida WM Nano. Hope this video helps you out, and I'll be making another video for you shortly. Thank you.